The crystal ship fell through Earth's sky like a burning star. Bright light flashed as it crashed in the New Mexico desert. From inside the Earth Defense Force Command Center, Captain Jun Park watched carefully. "Keep your distance. Follow first contact rules," he said to his team. His voice was calm but firm as he adjusted his blue uniform collar. The team's shuttle landed a safe distance from the crash. Smoke rose from the crashed ship. Pieces of crystal, some clear and others purple, lay scattered across the sand. The ship had broken apart, revealing a strange interior that seemed to be both machine and living crystal. June led a small team toward the wreckage. They wore protective suits and carried scanning equipment but no visible weapons. This was humanity's first confirmed alien contact, and Jun was determined to handle it correctly. "Life signs detected," said Lieutenant Minakwan, checking her scanner. "One survivor, but readings are fading fast." They found the alien inside what remained of the cockpit. She looked like a human-shaped being made of lavender crystal. Cracks spread across her surface, and pieces were breaking off. Light pulsed weakly inside her. "We mean no harm," Jun said, approaching slowly with open hands. The Mendari pilot turned her faceted head toward him. She had no visible mouth, but Jun suddenly heard a voice in his mind. "No time. Must share. Must warn." A flood of images filled Jun's mind. He saw beautiful cities made of crystal that captured and split light into rainbow patterns. He saw peaceful beings sharing thoughts through light pulses within their crystal bodies. Then darkness came, massive black ships that blocked out stars, weapons that shattered crystal cities, billions of crystal people breaking into pieces. Jun fell to his knees, overwhelmed by the shared memories and emotions. The Void Arch Empire hunts us to extinction. The dying alien projected into his mind. Our seers had visions. Guardians with iron in their blood would help us. You have iron in your blood. You must help us. The light inside the Mendari pilot dimmed, and then went out completely. Her crystal body broke apart into lifeless shards. "Captain, what happened?" Minna asked, concerned by Jun's reaction. "She showed me everything," Jun said, standing shakily. "We need to report this immediately." Back at headquarters, medical staff checked Jun thoroughly. The telepathic contact had been intense, but caused no lasting harm. Scientists studied the crystal fragments from the pilot, finding they contained both technological and biological properties. 3 days later, the United Earth Council called an emergency meeting. The 12 representatives from Earth's major regions gathered in New York City. President Soo-Min Kim, a former diplomat known for her careful thinking, called the meeting to order. "Captain Park's experience has been verified by our top scientists," she said. The telepathic images were recorded by the neural monitors he was wearing during contact. The council watched the recordings, seeing the beautiful Mendari civilization and its ongoing destruction by the Void Arch Empire. "Could this be a trick?" asked the African Union representative. "Perhaps they want our resources or our planet." Jun stepped forward. "The emotions I felt were real. Their fear, their hope when they found us. It couldn't be faked." The science advisor, Dr. Han, displayed a hologram of the crystal technology. "Their technology is far beyond ours in some ways. Yet they didn't attack us. They came seeking alliance." "What can we possibly offer an advanced crystal species?" asked the European Federation representative. "Iron in our blood," Jun said. "That's what their prophecies mentioned. There must be something about human biology or thinking that they believe can help them." Discussion continued for hours. Earth had only developed faster than light travel 10 years earlier and had explored just a small region of nearby space. They had found no other intelligent life until now. The idea that they had stepped into a complex galactic conflict was overwhelming. "We can't ignore this," said the East Asian Coalition representative. "If the Mendari are destroyed, this Void Arch Empire might find us next." President Kim stood. Her decision was made. "We will send a diplomatic mission to the remaining Mendari colonies. Captain Park will lead the military escort, since he is already connected with their kind. June was surprised. Madam President, I'm not a diplomat. But you're the only human who has communicated with them, she replied. They trusted you with their memories and final message. They will trust you again. Preparation for the mission moved quickly. Earth's newest ship, the Handshake, was prepared for the journey. The diplomatic team included linguists, scientists, and cultural experts. They studied the information obtained from the crashed ship and the dying pilot's memories. 1 month later, the Handshake prepared to depart from Earth's orbital station. June looked out at the blue planet below them. Humanity had fought many wars among themselves, but had finally found a fragile global peace 20 years ago. Now they faced something much bigger. Captain, we're ready for jump, reported the navigation officer. June nodded. Set course for the coordinates from the Mendari ship's navigation system. The stars stretched as the ship entered FTL travel. June thought about the images of crystal cities under attack and felt a strange sense of purpose grow inside him. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they knew they weren't, and their first act would be to stand with the people who needed them. The crystal shard he kept from the pilot glowed softly in his pocket, as if approving of their mission. Somewhere among the stars, the remaining Mendari waited for the Guardians with iron in their blood. Humanity was coming to help. The Handshake moved slowly through space toward the sparkling planet ahead. Captain Jun Park stood beside Ambassador Da Hyun Lee on the bridge. After 3 weeks of travel, they had reached Mendari Prime. Approaching final checkpoint, said the pilot. Mendari defense ships are moving into escort position. Through the view screen, they saw 3 ships made of purple crystal join them. The ships had no visible engines, yet they moved with grace through space, leaving trails of light behind them. They're beautiful, said June, remembering the dying pilot who had shared her memories with him on Earth. Ambassador Lee nodded. Let's hope they see us as allies and not just another threat. The view screen showed their first clear view of Mendari Prime. Everyone on the bridge fell silent. The planet was covered with massive crystal structures that caught starlight and broke it into countless colors. Cities rose like giant geodes, with spiraling towers and bridges connecting them. Light pulsed through the structures in rhythmic patterns. It's beautiful, whispered Hannah Song, the cultural attaché who had studied all available information about the Mendari. Those patterns of light must be their communication. The Handshake followed the escort ships to a docking station orbiting the planet. The structure was also made of crystal, but had been modified with metal docking clamps to accommodate the human ship. June, Ambassador Lee, and a small team prepared to meet the Mendari representatives. They wore their formal uniforms but carried no weapons. Remember, Ambassador Lee told the team, they communicate primarily through telepathy and light patterns. The translation devices Dr. Jin developed should help, but stay calm and think clearly. They stepped through the airlock into a chamber made entirely of crystal. The air had a sweet smell, and soft music seemed to come from the walls themselves. 5 Mendari waited for them. They were taller than humans, with bodies made of translucent crystal in various colors. Light moved within them in complex patterns. The leader was a deep purple color with intricate facets that caught and split the light. June recognized the leader from the memories shared by the dying pilot. Elder Resonant, he said with a bow. The Mendari leader's crystal form brightened with surprise. Without speaking aloud, a thought formed in all the humans' minds. You know of me. One of your people crashed on our world, June explained. Before she died, she shared memories with me. She showed us your world and the danger you face. Elder Resonant approached June and extended a crystalline hand. Light pulsed between his fingers. May I? June nodded, and the Mendari elder gently touched his forehead. A connection formed, and June felt the elder searching through his memories of the crashed pilot. After a moment, Elder Resonant stepped back. Light swirled rapidly inside his crystal form, which Hannah later explained was a sign of strong emotion. Scout brilliant, the elder projected to all of them. She was one of our bravest. Her sacrifice has brought you to us. The Mendari Council took the humans to a grand chamber in the capital city. The walls were made of crystals that vibrated gently, creating music that changed with the emotions in the room. Light moved through pathways in the floor and ceiling, carrying messages between Mendari. Elder Resonant addressed the human delegation formally. For generations, our prophecies spoke of guardians with iron in their blood who would stand against the darkness when all seemed lost. We believe you are those guardians. Ambassador Lee stepped forward. We don't fully understand why your seers pointed to humans specifically, but we are willing to help. The iron in your blood creates a unique energy field, explained another Mendari counselor whose light patterns identified her as knowledge seeker. This energy disrupts the dark technology of the Void Ark. Your minds also work differently. You think in ways our enemies cannot predict. Over the next several days, humans and Mendari shared knowledge. The Mendari showed the humans their bioharmonic technology, living crystal that responded to thought and emotion. Humans shared their military tactics and defensive systems. Ambassador Lee and Elder Resonant signed a formal alliance. Humans would help protect the remaining Mendari worlds, while the Mendari would share their crystal technology for peaceful purposes. The science vessel Curiosity began studying a nearby asteroid field, looking for rare minerals that could be used in combined human-Mendari technology. Captain Jiwoo Choi commanded the small research ship with a crew of 15 humans and 5 Mendari scientists. Captain, we're detecting 3 ships entering the system, reported Sensor Officer Ta Kim. They're not responding to hails. Jiwoo frowned. Show me. The screen displayed 3 black ships moving quickly toward them. They had sharp angles and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Mendari ships, she asked. Crystal Scientist Harmony vibrated with alarm. No. Void Ark scouts. We must flee immediately. Before Jiwoo could order retreat, the Void Ark ships fired. Black energy beams struck the Curiosity, causing the ship to shake violently. Shields down to 60%, called out Defense Officer Sun Lee. Jiwoo assessed the situation quickly. The Curiosity was a science vessel, not a warship, but it did have basic defenses. The Void Ark clearly expected an easy victory against what they saw as an inferior species. They don't know what we can do, Jiwoo said. Let's show them. Activate railguns. Target their engines. The Curiosity's railguns fired metal projectiles at incredible speeds. The Void Ark ships, designed to defend against energy weapons, were unprepared for physical projectiles. The first volley tore through the lead ship's engine section. They're circling for another attack, reported Ta. Jiwoo smiled. They think we got lucky. Sun, calculate where they'll be in 15 seconds and fire all rail guns at that point. The Void Ark ships moved in a standard attack pattern, efficient but predictable. When they reached the calculated position, the Curiosity's rail guns fired again. The projectiles ripped through the second ship's command section. The third Void Ark ship broke off its attack and fled, jumping to FTL speed. Should we pursue? Asked Sun. Jiwoo shook her head. No, let it go. They'll report back what happened here. She turned to Harmony. It seems humans have something to offer in this alliance after all. The Mendari scientists' crystal form pulsed with bright light. The prophecy begins to fulfill itself. The guardians with iron in their blood have proven their worth. Admiral Ta Yangyun walked slowly around the captured Void Ark commander. The alien sat in the interrogation room of the UES Determination, Earth's largest battleship. Dark metal restraints held the Void Ark in place. The Void Ark looked almost human, except for his black eyes with no whites or pupils, and skin that seemed to absorb light instead of reflect it. He wore armor made of a material that looked like solidified shadow. You attacked a science vessel, Admiral Yoon said. His voice remained calm, but everyone on the bridge could feel his anger. You expected an easy victory against what you thought was a weak species. The Void Ark commander smirked. A minor miscalculation. The Empire has conquered 1,000 worlds. Your primitive weapons caught us by surprise. Nothing more. Admiral Yoon nodded to Communications Officer Jin, who played back footage from the battle. The screen showed the Earth fleet engaging the Void Ark reinforcements that had arrived after the Curiosity's initial victory. Earth ships had used a combination of railguns, nuclear torpedoes, and unpredictable attack patterns to defeat the much larger Void Ark force. "Your arrogance blinds you," Admiral Yoon said. "We've analyzed your weapons and defenses. You rely too heavily on energy technology and predictable tactics. The Empire will send hundreds of ships next time," the Void Arch commander said. "They will adapt to your primitive projectile weapons." Admiral Yoon leaned closer to the prisoner. "Return to your empire with this message. Humanity will defend its allies. This is your only warning." The Void Arch commander laughed, his black eyes glittering. "Your species is barely space-capable. This victory was luck, nothing more. The Empire has crushed civilizations far more advanced than yours." "Perhaps," Admiral Yoon said, "but they've never faced humans before." The Admiral ordered a small Void Arch scout ship repaired and the commander released. He would carry the human message back to his leaders. As the Void Arch ship disappeared into FTL speed, Captain Min Ali approached Admiral Yoon on the observation deck. "Do you think they'll listen, sir?" she asked. Admiral Yoon shook his head. "No, they're too proud. But when they come back in force, they'll remember we warned them." On Mendari Prime, the Crystal Cities buzzed with activity. Humans and Mendari worked together to prepare defenses against the expected Void Arch attack. In the Central Research Dome, Science Director Yunji Kang bent over a workbench studying a piece of crystal that pulsed with light. A tall Mendari named Knowledge Seeker stood beside her. "The crystal responds to human bioelectric fields," Yunji said excitedly. "Look what happens when I focus my thoughts." She closed her eyes and concentrated. The crystal's light pattern changed, shifting from blue to green. "Remarkable," Knowledge Seeker projected into her mind. "No non-Mendari has ever affected our living crystals before." Yunji had been on Mendari Prime for 3 months, learning their bioharmonic technology while sharing human engineering principles. Her team had made several breakthroughs, combining human neural interface technology with Mendari crystals. "If we can link the crystal networks to human neural patterns," Yunji explained, "we could create defense systems that respond at the speed of thought." A human technician rushed into the lab. "Director Kang, the prototype shield is ready for testing." Yunji and Knowledge Seeker hurried to the testing chamber. A dome of interlocked crystal panels covered a small area. 5 humans sat in neural interface chairs around the dome, each wearing headsets that connected them to the crystal network. "Begin the test," Yunji ordered. A drone fired an energy beam at the shield. As it approached, the humans in the chairs thought in unison, and the crystal dome flared with light. The energy beam hit the shield and scattered harmlessly. "Success!" Yunji shouted. "The neural link works. Human thought patterns are strengthening the crystal's natural defenses." Knowledge Seeker's crystal body pulsed with excitement. This technology could protect our entire planet. In a darkened chamber far from the research dome, Counselor Shimmer met with no one. His crystal body dimmed to near darkness as he activated a special communication device hidden in the wall. His crystal fragments vibrated with shame as he composed his message. "The humans have improved our defenses," he transmitted to the waiting Void Arch receiver. "They are combining their neural technology with our crystal networks. But the systems are not yet fully deployed. Attack within 3 cycles and victory will be yours." Shimmer ended the transmission quickly, his crystal body nearly gray with guilt. He had not always been a traitor. Once, he had been proud to serve on the Mendari Council. But after watching his family shatter under Void Arch weapons during the first wave of attacks, fear had broken something inside him. Better to surrender and live as servants than to resist and be completely destroyed, he whispered to himself. But the words brought no comfort. Little did Shimmer know that his transmission had been detected. Junior Security Officer Hyun Park had been monitoring communication frequencies as part of new security protocols established by the human Mendari defense team. He noticed the unusual signal and traced it to its source. Captain Jun, Hyun reported over the secure channel. I've detected an unauthorized transmission to Void Arc space. It contained defense information. Can you identify the source? Jun asked, his voice tense. Yes, sir. It came from the council tower. Specifically, Counselor Shimmer's private chamber. Jun's face hardened. Gather Security Team Alpha. We'll handle this quietly. If there's a traitor on the council, we don't want to create panic. As night fell over the Crystal City, Jun led a small team through the quiet corridors of the council tower. They carried stun weapons designed to temporarily disrupt Mendari crystal structures without causing permanent damage. They reached Shimmer's door just as the counselor was preparing to send another transmission. The door slid open, and Shimmer turned, his crystal form flashing with surprise and fear. Counselor Shimmer, Jun said calmly, you are under arrest for treason against the Mendari people and violation of the Human-Mendari Alliance Treaty. You don't understand, Shimmer projected, his thoughts tinged with desperation. The Void Arch cannot be defeated. I'm trying to save those who can be saved. By betraying everyone else, Jun asked. The defense plans you sent, how many will die because of that information? Shimmer's crystal form dimmed with shame. The Void Arch are coming with a massive fleet. Nothing can stop them. Jun stepped closer. You're wrong, Counselor. Together, we will stop them. And when we do, I hope you live long enough to see it. As they led Shimmer away, Jun contacted Admiral Yoon. Sir, we have confirmation. The Void Arch are planning a major attack within 3 cycles, about 2 Earth weeks. Then we'll be ready for them, Admiral Yoon replied. Alert all ships and defense stations. The real test is coming. The first sign of the invasion was a darkening of the stars. Sensor Officer Todd Kim looked up from her station on Mendari Prime's defense platform with wide eyes. Commander, multiple objects emerging from FTL at the edge of the system, she reported, her voice steady despite her fear. Fleet Commander Min Su Lim moved quickly to the main viewing screen. What he saw made his blood run cold. Thousands of black Void Arch ships appeared against the backdrop of space, their shapes sharp and angular, seeming to absorb the starlight around them. How many? Min Su asked quietly. Current count at 3,241 ships, sir, Tae replied. And more arriving. Min Su took a deep breath. The combined human Mendari defense fleet had only 217 ships. Send alert to all vessels. Activate planetary shields. Begin civilian evacuation procedures, he ordered. And get me Admiral Yoon. The Admiral's face appeared on screen moments later. I see them, Commander. The Determination and Second Fleet are 6 hours out. Hold them as long as you can. Yes, sir, Min Su replied, knowing that in 6 hours the battle might already be lost. The Void Arch ships moved with frightening precision, spreading out to surround the planet. Their first volley of weapons fire struck the outer defense platforms. Several exploded immediately, their crews lost in bright flashes of light. Fall back to defensive positions, ordered Min Su over the fleet comm. Protect the evacuation corridors at all costs. Lieutenant Soo-hyun Park, his second in command, looked at the tactical display showing the overwhelming enemy force. Sir, we can't hold that position against their numbers. We should concentrate our forces around the main defense platforms. Min Su's expression hardened. We didn't come all this way to abandon our allies at the first real test. Position the fleet between the Armada and the civilian ships. He pointed to the routes where Mendari evacuation vessels were already beginning to stream away from the planet. Yes, sir, Soo-hyun replied, understanding what the order meant. Most of the human ships would not survive. On the surface of Mendari Prime, crystal buildings shook as Void Arch energy weapons struck the planetary shields. Mendari civilians hurried toward evacuation centers, their crystal bodies flashing with fear and grief. Science Director Yunji Kang worked frantically alongside Mendari engineers to keep the shields functioning. "Reroute power from the eastern sectors," she ordered. "Those evacuation centers are already empty." In orbit above, the human fleet moved into position, creating a protective screen between the Void Arch Armada and the fleeing civilian ships. The UES Steadfast, commanded by Captain Junho Ryu, led the front line of defense. "Enemy ships approaching, targeting evacuation route 7, reported his weapons officer. "Intercept course," Junho ordered. "Prepare all rail guns and nuclear torpedoes." The Steadfast shot forward, engaging 3 Void Arch destroyers simultaneously. The human ship's rail guns tore through the first destroyer's shields, and nuclear torpedoes finished it off in a burst of blinding light. But the other Void Arch ships concentrated their fire on the Steadfast. Black energy beams cut through the hull, venting atmosphere and crew into space. "Engines damage. Weapons at 20%, the systems officer reported as the bridge filled with smoke. Junho looked at the tactical display. The Steadfast was crippled, but directly ahead lay the Void Arch command ship, coordinating the attack on the evacuation route. "Evacuate all remaining crew," Junho ordered calmly. "I'll stay to pilot." His officers protested, but he cut them off. "That's an order. Get to the escape pods now." Once alone on the bridge, Junho set a collision course for the Void Arch flagship. As escape pods launched from the Steadfast, he pushed the damaged engines to their limit, aiming the entire ship like a massive missile. "For Earth, for Mendari Prime," he whispered as the distance closed. The Void Arch flagship attempted evasive maneuvers too late. The Steadfast crashed into it at near relativistic speed, the resulting explosion destroying both ships and 3 nearby Void Arch vessels. Elder Resonant watched from the main evacuation ship, his crystal form vibrating with deep emotion. The screen showed human vessels fighting fiercely, many sacrificing themselves to protect Mendari civilian ships. The humans were losing ships one after another, yet they refused to retreat. "Why do they do this?" asked a young Mendari beside him. "They barely know us. Why die for us?" Elder Resonant's thoughts were solemn. "Because they are the guardians our prophecies foretold. They value loyalty above self-preservation." On the defense platform, Min-Su received the worst possible news. "Sir, planetary shields failing. Sectors 3 through 7 are already down." He watched grimly as Void Arch landing craft began descending toward the crystal cities. Ground battles would begin soon, and many Mendari still remained on the surface. "Sir," Ta called urgently. "Message from Science Director Kang. She says Project Crystal Mind is ready and requests permission to activate." Min-Su felt a surge of hope. The secret project, Earth's hidden weapon, was their last chance. "Tell her to proceed immediately." Deep beneath the surface of Mendari Prime, in a heavily shielded facility, Commander Yi-Jin Kang stood before 12 specialized pods. Inside each pod was a human pilot connected to a massive Mendari crystal structure by neural interfaces. "All pilots report ready status," her assistant said. Yi-Jin took a deep breath. "Activate neural links." The 12 pilots gasped in unison as their minds connected with the crystal technology. Through this link, they could directly interface with the upgraded human ships waiting in orbit, 12 special vessels built with Mendari crystal cores. In space, these 12 ships suddenly powered up, their hulls glowing with internal light. They moved with impossible speed and precision, no longer limited by human reaction times or physical controls. The neural link allowed the pilots to fly the ships as extensions of their own bodies, while the crystal cores provided insights into Void Arch tactics and intentions. The first neural link ship intercepted a squad of Void Arch destroyers heading for an evacuation route. It moved in ways that defied conventional physics, seeming to anticipate the Void Arch attacks before they happened. The ship's weapons found weaknesses in Void Arch shields that sensors hadn't detected before. The other 11 ships joined the battle, each moving with the same uncanny precision. They targeted Void Arch command ships and communication nodes, disrupting the enemy's coordinated attack patterns. Min Su watched in amazement as the tactical display showed the tide of battle shifting. The 12 crystal ships cut through the Void Arc formations like scalpels, creating openings for the regular fleet to exploit. All ships follow the crystal vessel's lead, he ordered. Target the gaps they create. The human fleet rallied, their morale boosted by this unexpected advantage. The Void Arch ships, for the first time, showed signs of confusion. Their neat formations broke apart as they tried to counter the unpredictable movements of the neural link ships. Elder Resonant felt the shift in the battle. He turned to the Mendari captain of the evacuation vessel. "Take us back," he ordered. "Back to the battle." The captain asked in surprise. "Our allies fight for us," Elder Resonant projected firmly. "We will not abandon them in their moment of need." The evacuation ship turned, leading a group of Mendari vessels back toward their home planet. They would not flee while humans died to protect them. As Min Su coordinated the counterattack, he received an unexpected communication from Admiral Yun. "Commander, we're arriving ahead of schedule. Second Fleet is engaging the Void Arc rear guard now." Min Su smiled for the first time since the battle began. With the crystal ships breaking the Void Arc formations, the civilian evacuations nearly complete, and reinforcements arriving, they might just win this impossible fight. "All ships," he broadcast to the fleet, "press the attack. Humanity will defend its allies today and always." The morning after the battle, sunrise revealed the true cost of victory. Medical Officer Sunhai Park moved through the crowded emergency ward on what remained of Mendari Prime's central medical facility. Injured humans lay on beds next to damaged Mendari, whose crystal forms showed cracks and missing pieces. "Victory comes at great cost," Sunhai said quietly to Fleet Commander Min Su as he visited the wounded. Min Su nodded solemnly. He had bandages around his head and arm. "But we did win. Against all odds." Through the windows, they could see the changed landscape of Mendari Prime. The once beautiful crystal spires were now jagged ruins reflecting fractured light. Entire city sections had collapsed under Void Arch bombardment. But the planet still stood, and most of its people had survived. Admiral Yun stood on the bridge of the UES Determination, looking at the report of ships lost and damaged. 47 human vessels destroyed, over 2,000 crew members dead, 8 Mendari defense platforms completely destroyed. The numbers were painful to read. But the Void Arch losses had been far greater. Their retreat had been chaotic, hundreds of damaged ships left behind, as the rest fled back to their territory. "Admiral," said Communications Officer Jin, "we're receiving signals from multiple systems throughout the sector. Word of our victory is spreading." Video feeds from a dozen worlds showed people of various species celebrating. Many had lived under Void Arch control for generations. Now they saw hope for the first time. "The galaxy is changing," Admiral Yun said, "and humanity is at the center of it." On Earth, the United Council gathered in emergency session. The chamber was filled with representatives from every nation, all watching the holographic display showing the battle's aftermath. President Su Min Kim stood before them. "The Mendari Alliance has proven its worth, but at terrible cost. Now we face a choice. Do we continue this fight, or return to our peaceful exploration?" Defense Minister Ju Won Cho stepped forward. "The Void Arch will return, Madam President, and not just to Mendari Prime. They now know of Earth. We must be prepared." "More than that," added Ambassador Lee, recently returned from Mendari Prime. "We've received communications from 12 other species seeking our protection. Some were Void Arch subjects for centuries. They see us as liberators." President Kim looked out at the assembly. "Then we must decide what kind of liberators we will be." The debate lasted hours, but in the end, the vote was nearly unanimous. Earth would stand with its new allies and face the Void Arch threat directly. 3 days later, President Kim recorded a message to be transmitted directly to the Void Arch homeworld. She wore a simple blue suit, her expression calm but determined. To Emperor Void and the Voidarch High Council, she began. I speak for United Earth and our allied worlds. Your attack on Mendari Prime has failed. Your forces have been defeated, but this conflict need not continue. All territories taken from peaceful species will be returned immediately, she stated firmly. Or Earth will bring this war to your doorstep. We have demonstrated our resolve. The choice is yours. The message was transmitted using captured Voidarch communication technology. Within hours, they received confirmation it had been received. In the grand chamber of the Voidarch Imperial Palace, Emperor Void watched the human leader's message with growing rage. His black eyes narrowed as he turned to his High Council. These humans dare to threaten the Empire, he hissed. They are barely beyond their own planet. High General Darkness bowed slightly. My Emperor, our initial reports underestimated their capabilities. Their neural crystal technology allowed them to anticipate our attack patterns, and their weapons, while primitive, proved effective against our shields. One battle does not decide a war, Emperor Void said. Prepare a proper invasion force. We will crush these humans and their crystal allies together. Science Master Gloom shifted uncomfortably. My Emperor, there is more troubling news. Since the battle, 12 formerly loyal systems have declared for the humans. Their defensive pact is growing. The Emperor's rage was visible as black energy crackled around his form. Traitors. They will be punished. There is one more thing, Intelligence Director Shadow added. Our deep space monitors have detected human ships. They appear to be mapping routes directly to our core systems. For the first time, a flicker of concern crossed the Emperor's face. The humans were not waiting for the next attack. They were preparing to bring the war to the Voidarch homeworld, just as they had promised. Back on Mendari Prime, reconstruction had begun. Human engineers worked alongside Mendari builders, creating new structures that combined crystal and metal in beautiful patterns. Captain Jun Park stood with Elder Resonant, watching a mixed team raise a new communication tower. Your people continue to surprise us, Elder Resonant projected. After such losses, many species would have retreated to safety. June smiled. Humans are stubborn that way. We don't abandon our friends. The prophecy called you guardians with iron in your blood, Elder Resonant said. We thought it referred to your physical nature. Now we understand it meant your iron will. On a newly established base on Mendari Prime's moon, Commander Yi Jin Kang supervised the training of new neural link pilots. The program had expanded rapidly, with hundreds of human volunteers eager to join. The Neuralink is not just a weapon, she explained to the candidates. It's a true joining of minds. You will see through crystal perception, while the crystals learn human intuition. Neither alone could defeat the Voidarch. Together, we can. Across the galaxy, communication channels hummed with the news. The unstoppable Voidarch Empire had been defeated. The humans, a species most galactic civilizations hadn't even known existed a year ago, had done what no one thought possible. Representatives from more and more worlds contacted Earth each day. Some were former Voidarch subjects seeking protection. Others were independent worlds wanting to join the growing alliance before the conflict spread further. Admiral Yoon stood before a galactic map showing all the newly allied systems in green, with Voidarch territory in black. The green area grew larger each day. We never sought to become a galactic power, he said to his officers. But sometimes duty finds us whether we're looking for it or not. Throughout all these allied systems, a phrase was repeated with growing hope and determination. Humanity will defend its allies. The Voidarch Empire had conquered and ruled through fear for 10,000 years. Now, for the first time, they knew what it meant to be afraid. The end.